Sam, of course we sit here pre-training for Rochdale on Saturday, but let's start back on Monday. Tough defeat away at Boston, not much in it, but you've had a bit of time now. What do you feel you've taken from that game?
Yeah, we've dissected it and watched it back, of course. We were really frustrated at the time, and I think probably watching it back even more frustrating. Anybody who's seen the statistics from the game, the attempts that we've had on goal, I think it was around about 70% possession, 17 attempts on goal. Yeah, disappointing not to walk away with something, let alone the 3 points. So that was disappointing, obviously. But in terms of the actual performance and the intent, of course, that's a pleasing thing. We're creating, we're making things happen in the final third, and I think that's what every coach, every manager wants to see. And we know we have to be more clinical in front of goal and put teams to bed. But generally, all round across the course of the 5 games that we've had, you know, we can't be too harsh on the boys for their performance because they've been excellent.
Of course, Rochdale coming up on Saturday. They've had a flying start. What are you expecting them to bring to the Vale?
I think similar conversations to what we had this time last week regarding the Carlisle game. We know Rochdale are, of course, going to be up there and thereabouts. They're a side that I've admired for a while now. Their style, their intent to play. I think they've got some really bright players, some really good players, which in my opinion they'll be up in towards the playoffs or going towards winning the division come end of the season. So we know we're in for a real tough challenge. But I think for the mutual and for the fans coming to watch, I think it's going to be a really, really entertaining game of football, and we're going to make sure that we're fully tooled up. We've got a session this afternoon prepping for that. We've got some analysis now with the boys just to look at a few patterns and strategy going into that game. But it's certainly a game that, you know, we feel doesn't need too much motivation for the boys. I think these are the kind of games, much like last week, where you want to be competitive and kind of impose our style on one of the better sides in the division.
As we mentioned there, they are off to a flying start, but we only sit 3 points behind. What does that sort of reflect on our start to the season?
Like I said, I think the boys have been fantastic, and you know, despite not walking away with points across the bank holiday weekend, we have to be, you know, realistic and, you know, see the start that we've had. They've been outstanding, the spirit that they've shown, you know, even to go 1-0 down against Boston, and you know, the way we reacted off the back of that, Obiero's header and then hitting the post and getting the chance, it just didn't quite fall for us. But you know, we know on another day that is that's going to be a flip result. So we have to be, you know, pleased at where we are, not content, because I think where we are as a staff and as a squad now, we've got our own personal ambitions. But yeah, we just take each game it comes, and you know, every game's a challenge for us in this league, and we're just gonna give everything that we have, and which we have done for the. I think, you know, the fans have seen that, which is why we got you know, a good reception after the game. But we now need to turn those performances into consistent results.
Mm-hmm. Of course, as we mentioned, it was a busy weekend, 2 games in 3 days, some tired legs towards the end of the Boston one. How is the squad shaping up for today?
Yeah, it's a real physical and mental challenge across that bank holiday, and some of the boys, they've put in huge shifts since pre-season, all of them to a man. They are trying so hard, and probably what people don't see behind the screens and the games that actually happen, the intent and the work rate that these boys are putting in day in, day out to try and, you know, get a result on a match day. But everyone's had a superb attitude, and you know, they've taken really well to the injury prevention program that we've introduced, and the strengthening program that we've introduced, and we've tried to limit the injuries which we've had for the last couple of years. And you know, thank God, touch wood, that, you know, we're okay going into the game on Saturday. You know, a few tired bodies, but that's Georgie's job to now go and nurse them and make sure they get wrapped up in cotton wool, and make sure we're fully tooled up going into the game.
And then finally, just finishing with some squad news, of course. Connor McAvoy still out for a while. Nathan Young-Coombs, is he expecting a return anytime soon?
Yeah, Young-Coombs is taking part in his first session today, which is really promising for us and the fans, because I think he's going to be a great addition when he comes back and he's fully fit, and adding another tool to our front line. Good news for McAvoy as well, having seen the specialist. It's not as bad as we first thought. Still, he's going to be out for the foreseeable, but certainly the duration of that injury is going to be shortened, which is pleasing. So he'll be doing some running soon, which is great news. But we are in a good place. We didn't pick up any injuries over the bank holiday weekend. Again, we have to utilise our whole squad, and I think the players understand and know that. We had to rotate across the last 3 games, and we'll continue to do so according to our opponents. So looking forward to the game Saturday.